I have everything.
Let's not let anything waste our time anymore.
Hi everyone. I am so sorry. It's all today. It's my fault. I accidentally hit the button on my surge protector, which turned my computer off. And then when I turned it back on, the system had decided to update itself, and I went into a panic. And there's nothing I could do, but here we are. Better late than never.
And
Thankfully,
she's like, oh no.
wine in my wine bottle for one glass of wine because I sorely need it today. But
I'm like,
anyway,
our gods and goddesses in the chat room, they're awesome. They were like, let's do this.
thank you for being so patient.
Guys
Thank you
are
for
so awesome.
joining us for another Priestess View. I am Goddess Rhonda, and of course, we have with us, as always, our beautiful Goddess Star.
Hi, everyone. We were talking about wines in the chat room. There we go. We know our priorities, right, ladies?
We do. I am so glad I had that one glass of wine left because it's like I really need that glass of wine today. But as always,
to us.
Cheers. Let's cheers to all of you who have a glass of wine or whatever you're drinking. Merry meet, and we're so grateful to have you here. Cheers to you.
Yeah, cheers. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, that tastes good.
You? I needed that. I love my Trader Joe's organic wine.
Me too. Me too. I was just telling them that.
Ah, that was good. All righty. So, as always, before we begin, we'd like to cast a circle of protection around us. All hail, our lords and ladies of the East, our brothers and sisters. Our brother and patron, the sacred element of air, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. We charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction. From corner to corner and end to end, let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is, so mote it be.
So mote it be, so mote it is. All hail, our lords and ladies of the South, my brother and sisters, my brother and patron, the sacred element of fire. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge you, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is, so mote it be.
So it is, so mote it be. All hail, our lords and ladies of the West, our brothers and sisters, our sister and patron, the sacred element of water. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. We charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is. So mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be. All hail, our lords and ladies of the North, my brother and sisters, my sister and patron, the sacred element of earth. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is. So mote it be.
So it is, so mote it be. And we now bring down the divine white light from the sacred source of all well-being and fill all of our spaces with peace and protection always. So it is, so mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be. And really quickly, as I was doing that, we were doing the opening circle, I wanted to let everyone know, you guys know that you guys could go get all these things and you can do this circle with us, right? I hope you do. It's a very calming thing, after the whole day and all of that. So you should join us with it.
I feel better now.
It's a wonderful, it's a wonderful, wonderful opening circle. Thanks to Goddess Rhonda that wrote that. It's awesome.
Well, thank you. So tonight, first, everyone in the chat room, again, I want to thank you.
Yeah, they are so awesome.
So patient. And I'm really, really grateful to you guys. I'm so sorry that I hit that switch But it doesn't matter. We're in divine timing, and we
Yes.
are doing okay for ourselves. All right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
first thing we are going to do is we're going to be talking about, we have our little random topics that we like to do. And so the first topic that we're going to talk about is going on a quest. Now, there's all different types of magical quests that we can go on. And I want to see if you guys are on a quest and what kind of quest that you're on. How are you going about it? Are you excited about it? Are you afraid of it? Because a lot of times when we start to take a journey, it can be frightening. You're going into the unknown. You're going to have to see what you're made out of, to learn new things. And so we are very curious about the quest that you are embarking on, or a quest that you are thinking of embarking on, and how you're going to do that. Now, as witches, wizards, light workers, or metaphysicians, however you term yourself, I think once we get on this path, we are already starting our quest for magical knowledge, spiritual wisdom, spiritual maturity, that sort of thing. So you might not realize that you've been on a quest, but you have been. But then there's other quests that we deliberately go on, or we may be afraid of going on. It doesn't necessarily have to be just to do with magic. It can be, a quest for a new love, a new job, a new home, a new anything, a quest for anything. So we're curious about that, what you are questing for, if that is the proper way to use that word, how you're going about it. And if you started your journey, if you're waiting to start your journey, talk to us and tell us what's going on in the chat room. Now, for those of you on computer, the chat room will be on your right. If you're on your phone or your tablet, you may have to scroll down, but please, by all means, we're very interested in what you have to say, because you guys teach us too. And so please let us know what's going on with that. Now, I started thinking about quests because I was watching Lord of the Rings for the umpteenth time, because I just love that.
Yes, one of my
And
favorites. Yeah.
you've got Frodo, who's just kind of thrown out there, carrying this mega powerful ring, and his friends are with him, and they're young, and they're journeying, and they've got the precious, the ring, and all this stuff. And they've got Gandalf, who's my personal favorite. I love Gandalf, the wizard.
Yes.
And I was like, look at the quest that they're on. Everyone's on this quest, and I think it's awesome. So let's talk about the quests that you're on and the different types of quests that there are. Now, I'm thinking in terms of magical quests, but we can use magic to help us to get that new job, or, become a model, or rich and famous, or whatever it is you want to do. And there's different aspects to magical quests. So the first one we're going to talk about, Goddess Star, is the spiritual aspect. And one of the things I put down first is figuring out who you are and figuring out who you were. Now, figuring out who you are is as simple as figuring out what type, if you're faith-based, what type of gods or deities, gods and goddesses, are you hanging out with? Are you going with the fertility goddesses and gods, or the deities of wisdom, the deities of love, the deities of sex, the deities of travel? What deities, if any, are you using? Who are you aligning yourself with? Now, Goddess Star, and I think you'll agree with me, and I'll just ask your opinion on this.
Yes.
When we started our journey, not to date ourselves, but like 40 years ago.
Yes.
Or,
I'm not doing that.
Did you find, like I found, that at one point I would align with this type of deity and learn from them, and then switch over to this one and learn from them, learn from the elements. Like I would shift all the time. For a while I was very into Egyptian stuff, which I still am. Hinduism, I would shift, and it seems like once I learned that one thing, then I was called by another goddess, or God would call me to learn something else.
Yeah.
So have you found that to be the case for you?
Absolutely. Honestly speaking, for many years, I was what you would call just gods and goddesses. Didn't pick any particular one. Um, and then I started shifting. I'm not going to say pantheons anymore because I honestly don't see them as in different pantheons. I just see them as gods and goddesses. I mean, again, we've discussed this many a time when we say that we've been many races, many genders, many lifetimes, whatever they were. So we have been, I think, through just about every, if you want to call them pantheons around the world. Pantheons meaning different cultures and who, whatever gods and goddesses that there are. I no longer think of them as pantheons. I just simply think of them as gods and goddesses because, like you said, we don't go through the pantheons. We kind of go through gods and goddesses.
Mm-hmm.
And we align ourselves with them and work with them because I think it's something we are called to based on what we need to know at
Mm-hmm.
different times. And I think we garner knowledge from them. And it's not that we have necessarily moved on from them as much as, okay, I need to learn from this particular one now. But we hold on to so many of their attributes or aspects of the ones we've moved on from because we will, when we are needing certain things, I don't know about you, but I think you do as well because we're very similar in a lot of things. I tend to reach out to any of them that I know that that particular wisdom is with, or that particular thought pattern, or whatever it is that spell I'm working on, and I know I could draw on them at any time, and it just feels like they all will come, and they're always there for me, no matter who they were in whatever time throughout my umpteen years of doing this. Again, not dating time, but but you know what I mean. I don't think we ever really let them go per se, or they in
Not at
turn
all.
letting us go. I think they let us know that we've learned from them this particular thing, and we could always come back on another particular thing, but move on to a different one and learn. And I think it's because they themselves are in some way instructing us that, again, our belief system, I think, is falling into pattern with that it's not pantheons, it's just simply gods and goddesses. And whichever one that you can learn from a particular thing, if they're at your disposal and they're there for you in whatever part that you're working on, whether it's that spiritual quest or the spell or whatever it is, and they're there and they allow you to reach out and to whomever you need to learn from next. And I think that I am very grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
that they are so open-minded, whereas many a times we've spoken to people and things like that pantheon or that god or goddess does not work well with that particular god and goddess, and we've always said, well, they get along just fine on our altars and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I think that's all kind of plays into there because we are basically saying there are no pantheons and they can all be on our altar at any time together, as long as there's room. It's all based on room for us, not who they are necessarily. And it's a matter of what knowledge they have to imbue upon us. And I'm always grateful for that because um, I think it's just a way that every witch approaches it,
Mm-hmm.
or it's not calling yourself a witch, but whatever spiritual being that you are.
Right, right, of course.
However you approach it, I think is the way your gods and goddesses react or approach it. So if you're open-minded in the way that we are in how we receive them and see them, they're more, I think, prone to come at us from every aspect of around the world, the cultures around the world, and teach us, and we learn. Um, and it's there for us to absorb. If you don't learn to absorb it and accept it, then again, that's again segregating your craft into different sections. I don't do segregation very well, so
I don't either,
so
actually.
yeah, that's what I mean. And I think that's one of the reasons we are so well together, because our thought patterns and the way we think about things in terms of our craft and our belief system is very similar, in that we are open-minded with that. We have not taken it and locked it and pigeonholed it into what people have designated things for us. If we did not want the regular Christian religion or the Catholic religion or whatever else is out there, evangelical or whatever, to pull us back when we were younger, we certainly don't want anyone in a chosen belief system to also do that, which a lot of people still do, unfortunately. Right? What do you think?
No, I'm totally with you on that. In fact, as each god or goddess calls me, and I do respond when they call me because I figure if you're taking time out of your busy day to come
Yep.
and see me and talk to me, I'm going to respond. But I
Absolutely.
remember one of my quests was when I became, not by choice, by the way, and which I'll talk to you about in a minute. When I became a full-time psychic healer, my quest was how to do this and do it in a prosperous way, but also from the heart, no cutthroat, no hardcore, no stealing people's clients, things like that. And I had gone to a meetup group. Actually, one of the people in my meetup group was hosting it. And so we went to her house, and she had this, just really beautiful house. She had a lot of money. And she said that she came from a space where she was pretty much almost homeless. She had like nothing.
Wow. Nice.
And she said Lakshmi, goddess Lakshmi, came to her.
Yeah.
And after that, she became, a woman of means. And I was like, wow, maybe this goddess Lakshmi will help me too. And so maybe, keeping in mind, I knew nothing about Lakshmi at all, never heard the name before. And so I went home that night and I said, hey, Goddess Lakshmi, I learned of you today. Maybe you would help me, to get my business going prosperously. And you know what she said? She said, do I know you? Yeah,
Of
do I know
course.
you? I heard that loud and clear, and I was so embarrassed. And I said, I'm so sorry. Let me get to know you and make offerings to you and try to learn about you and things like that. Now, you may find, because I was a little taken aback by that. It's like, well, Cindy, that was the lady who hosted that meetup group, was like, well, she came and she helped Cindy, but now I've got to go through hoops. If you ever have that happen to you, do not take that offensively. I look at it as permissions. If you have been doing this for many lifetimes and you have wisdom and knowledge and you know better that you're supposed to establish a relationship and things like that, then you're going to be expected to do that. You may have some higher things that you need to do first to get in with this deity. Whereas someone else who may not even know the person, they might not be as spiritually mature and need help, like a mother helping a child, or so they just step in and will help out. But you may be held accountable to higher standards, depending on where your spirituality is. And I've had that happen just recently, because I make offerings to a whole bunch of different deities, and one of them is Poseidon, who Poseidon came to me and demanded that I make offerings. I was like, all right, I'll make offerings to you, no problem. Mainly because I make offerings to Neptune, because Neptune is one of the rulers of Pisces, and Poseidon is sort of like they're separate people, but he's part of, I think he's the Greek the Greek part of it.
Pantheon, yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so, I would make offerings to him every day like I do with everybody else. And then I have a friend who's a mariner who has been trying to get back on a ship for a long time. And one of his friends gave him this necklace that she said was blessed by Poseidon. And now he has this gig. It's like $900 a day on these fishing boats in Alaska. And I'm like, excuse me, Poseidon, can I have a word with you for a moment, please? We need to have a sit down about this. Because the thing is, when he was telling me about it, and he goes, and I was like, who's Poseidon? I've never even heard of him. And like my hair stood up. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So, and I got home, and I'm like, Poseidon, get in here. We're going to have a talk about this. Who's the one making offerings, blah, 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 and things like that. But I also recognize that this person that he helped is also not very spiritually mature. And so he stepped in the way someone may be more likely to help a child get something done, but look at an adult and say, you need to figure it out yourself. I'm willing to help this kid over here because it's a kid. What does he know?
Yeah.
But you're going to have to hoops. So I just brought that all up in case that has ever happened to you, where you're like, oh, I'm making all these offerings and things, and then someone else just gets to have this great thing. Well, they may not be as spiritually. It all depends on permissions. The same way some people will say, as Goddess Star has brought up just recently, oh, you can only have one person to an altar. Well, you may be just learning about that, and that might be what you have to go through to learn about each one of those individual deities. Whereas my altars have everybody. Everybody gets along just fine. There's no problem with it. Everyone's happy. I'm happy. We're all happy. So we have different permissions. So I just wanted to bring that up. But getting back to Lakshmi, so I decided, well, I'm going to look for, learn some more things and create a relationship with it, which is what I do with everybody now. And so I got this book. I think it's called Shakti Mantras, and it was about the Hindu goddesses. And I read it. And the guy who wrote it, I was so impressed with him that I wanted him. He said he did workshops. I was hoping to go to one of his workshops. And so I looked him up on the internet and was very sad to find out that he had passed away the year before when I was looking for it. I was like, dang. But he did reference his wife in the book. So I said, well, maybe she took over. And so I found her on Facebook and I sent her a little message saying, I loved your husband's book. I'm sorry that he's transitioned. And I was wondering if you have taken over, and if you do any workshops, I would love to do some workshops with you. And she wrote me back, and she had just bought a house in Albuquerque where I live. And she said, yes, I do workshops. And the first workshop she did when she got here was for Lakshmi. And it was a week long. She goes to the summer program. It's a week long workshop. You get to know the goddess. They give you the initiations, the whole thing. And I was so excited. And that is how Lakshmi helped me become a full-time psychic healer. But I did have to show respect and develop a relationship and truly learn about her and what her, what they call pujas, the fire ceremonies, and all that entailed is what she expected of me, and I followed through. And so you might want to, if you're trying to get to learn of a god or a goddess, to make, to develop a relationship with them, ask them what they want, and this way they will help you. And there might be someone else who just says, hey, Lakshmi, can I have $1 million? And they win the lottery. And you're like, excuse me, how come I didn't get to do that? Remember, it all depends on what it is you're here to learn this lifetime and what your permissions are and what your spiritual maturity is. And that can help you. Can you tell us, Goddess Star, about a god or a goddess that really significantly helped you in your life?
To me, Lakshmi, I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. Maybe I'm not sure. Let me check my my mutings to make sure it's all there.
Because I muted myself.
Okay, yeah, I'm muted. Okay. Yeah, Lakshmi helped me. And I did not, at the time, I did not know her that well. This was back in the 1995 or 6. I think it was 6, because that's when I bought this apartment. And I was looking for an apartment and trying to transition from the one I was selling and all of that. And again, I that's the goddess that I was told that I should reach out and work with, get this apartment, or to get something that I needed within exactly what I wanted, something that I no longer had a mortgage for, and all the different things. And she played. It was very subtle, and to this day, people still, when I talk about it, still cannot believe how much I bought it for and all the different things. And not rent it, but bought it for. And I think that was her. It was, I did the spell and I did everything that I had to do with it. And I did the offerings and everything. And within, I think about 2 weeks after I said I wanted what I needed, I got this apartment, bought it sight unseen and everything. And again, you've heard me say it before, but if you want, I'll say it again. It was $2,500 altogether for a 2-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, right across the bridge from Manhattan. So, which is unheard of. And I did that, and I think that it's just at different times throughout the years between Lakshmi and Yamaya, and what's the other one? That's I mean, they all play a big role. Apollo was one of them, and Demeter. Over the years, these are the ones that I've gotten close to. And I know that some of them are not necessarily are known for their attributes to be helping with certain things. But this is what I got from it. Again, this is the reason why I've always said to people, many things are written about different deities out there, many things. But your personal journey of what you've experienced with them, whether it's Goddess Rhonda or myself or J-Key or Monica, whatever your personal experiences with them, that's what really matters. Forget what people have said is the offerings or the different things that, you know, they've written in and regurgitated over and over. You have to do that personal journey with the deities yourself to find out what it is that they require. I highly believe majority of offerings or anything that I've learned with these goddesses and gods have all been what they've asked me for, not what I've seen in books. And when I do, if I want to say go check on that book to see what people have said, I'm like, but how come that's not what I do? You know what I mean? Because that's what people all, and they will tell me, no, you're supposed to be doing this. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And I walk away because what their experiences are might be theirs, but this is mine, you know, or that's Goddess Rhonda's own. You know, it's a very personal journey. And you have to me, you have to realize that it's a very personal one-on-one thing. It has nothing to do with anyone else outside of that. So me telling you this is what you need to offer doesn't work necessarily. Really get to know them and really listen to what they're saying and go with that. Yes, some of the books help you. You know, if you cannot gain that knowledge like that, it does help you. But really, if you journey yourself with that particular god and goddess, talk to them, you know, start out maybe using what the books have said and talk to them and you know, get to know them, introduce yourself. Because part of what Goddess Rhonda was saying was, do I know you? Well, yeah, you know, the goddess Lakshmi did not know her, you know, and in a way, as mature as we are as spiritual people, we forget to sometimes do the mundane and say, hi, my name is Star. I'm here. I'd love to get to know you, shake hands and stuff. Just like in the real world, you don't go up to someone and start saying, hi, can you help me? You know what I mean? You do have to go through all the niceties and get to know the person so that everyone feels comfortable. So it's just a matter of learning individually how to take that journey yourself and listening and follow through with what. Yeah, that's a big deal. It really is, because, you know, I'm not going to say anything, but, you know, it's just that some people really do not listen, and they really swearing up and down that they are akin or that they are following that particular god and goddess. And what you see them physically do and stuff like that makes you realize they're really not. You know what I mean? So really listen to what is required of you. Listen to what is reciprocated. Listen to what their wants and needs are, as well as yours. Learn to speak with them. They're very approachable. They're very one-on-one, and it's a personal journey between you and them. No one else. No experiences. And no one else's. My experience with Goddess Lakshmi is never going to be the same as Rhonda's own. It's just not. Each one is a very individual thing, and how, like she said, they will treat that one person this way and her this other way based on what they think we need. So, and they're looking at the bigger picture. We are not. We're looking at that one-dimensional picture, and they're looking at all of the whole picture, the whole thing. So you do have to learn to pay attention.
You do, and it pays off to pay attention.
Yep, it does.
You know, I've had so many, like Ganesha is I have Ganeshas everywhere. And,
right, yes.
And even Luke, who is the master of all trades, came to me and said, I can help you with this. And so, I mean, once you open up and say, you know what, universe, I need help, assistance will be given to you. So all you have to do is just kind of listen and go with it, and things will go. So now we're going to take a quick look in our chat room.
And as you mentioned, Ganesh, I was like, yes, I remember. He helps me so much. Okay, what do we got going on? I know we had a lot of people chatting up a storm in there.
Well, we've got Rhea, who says she is literally starting her new job next week, and she's so nervous. She's never had an office setting job. I have a funny story with you for that. When my first job was, my first real job, because I had done some retail when I was younger, was at Estee Lauder. and I used to make lipsticks. And one day, and I'm dating myself, I know, I saw the movie 9 to 5, and it had like Lily Tomlin and Dolly Parton and Jane Fonda. And it was Jane Fonda who's going to work for the first time in an office, and all the hijinks they got into with their boss and everything. And I was like, wow, working in an office looks like so much fun. I want to work an office job too. And I'll never forget it. I went to, this was one of my quests. I was going to get an office job because it just looked like it was just so much fun. And so I went to this ABC Personnel Agency or something like that. It was in Baldwin, New York. Now, I could have driven from Babylon to Baldwin, but they told me over the phone, they're like, oh, no, don't drive. Just take the train. We're right across from the train station. Then you don't have to drive and spend gas and blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right. So I took the train to Baldwin, or Belmore, excuse me. It's in Belmore, or was in Belmore if it's still there. And I got off and I went in there and I took a typing test. All I had was my high school typing. They sent me on 5 job interviews that day. Keep in mind, I had no car now because my car was in Babylon. 5 job interviews in 5 different tests. I took trains, buses, I walked. I mean, it was in every place I went to, it was like, no, you have no experience. No, you have no experience. No, you have no experience. Then it had the audacity to rain on me. I had no umbrella. By the time I got to the last interview, I was at the point where I just didn't care anymore. My hair looked like a dandelion. I was sweating. My clothes were soaked. I had this little container of chicken salad that I'd gotten from a deli, and I walked in to the place, Intercounty Mortgagee Corp. And I walked up to the receptionist, and I said, do you have a refrigerator? I didn't even introduce myself, say I'm in for an interview. Do you have a refrigerator? Yeah. Could you please put my chicken salad in it? And she's just staring. And I said, I'm here for an interview. I want to bring the chicken salad into the interview. I was just disgusted. I did not care. And the lady that came out to interview me, she looked at my application and she looked at me. Her name was Eunice. And she said, can you work under pressure? And I said, absolutely. She said, when can you start? That was the only question she asked me, which should have been my clue. But that is how I got into the mortgage business. And that was my quest to get an office job. And I had to walk through the gate to get it, but I got it. And so the rest of it, I was in the mortgage industry for like 25 years. So I just wanted to talk about that quest. So don't be nervous, Rhea. You've got this. You should also know on my first day of the job, I put a cup of coffee up on the filing cabinet and went to open the drawer. Opened the drawer, my coffee fell over into the filing cabinet on all of the files. I just knew I was going to be fired that day, but I wasn't, thankfully, because they understood coffee and spilling it. But so don't worry, you're going to do just fine. I promise you, you will. And then we have Glowing Goddess, who is, I guess she's questing because she wants to find out how this year is going to be for her. We have our goddess, Monica, who says, yes, I want formal traditional training. Self-study can be a vacuum. It's been put off, but it's coming. You know, I will say something. I think you might agree with me, Goddess Star, and we'll stop for just 1 second to discuss this. You know, back in, here we go dating ourselves, in the 70s and 80s, when we did not have the internet and the library might have one crappy book on witchcraft or things like that, I actually think that even though we weren't privy to all of this knowledge that today's generations are, I think we were maybe a little bit better off because we were directly spirit-led. We had spirit guiding us and teaching us and helping us, you know, or guiding us to people who could help us and teach us and learn. And so I actually think that the universe provides more information than the internet does if you have established that kind of spiritual connection and are open to it. Because, you know, Goddess Star and I, would you agree with me, Goddess Star, that you were
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because we didn't have this. We didn't have all these millions of books and websites and things. You know, all we had was a library. If you were lucky, you had a metaphysical store with some books in it.
Yep.
But if not, you just had the universe and different deities and guides and spirits teaching you and helping you along the way, or bringing up that past life wisdom and knowledge to help you just be instinctual. This is what I need to do to make the spell work, or
Right.
whatever. So I think on one hand, we were actually better off. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. I think that witches today or spiritual people today have a tendency to rely so heavily on Google. I love Google.
Oh, I love Google too.
I am not speaking ill against Google, because the goddess of God, Google, oh my goodness, I love her. Okay, Google is awesome. Google
Google is
anything
our
and it
friend.
comes out. Yes, Google is your friend. So I'm not saying anything against it, but I think everyone relies so heavily on the internet that even when they see something, they don't question it anymore. They just agree with whatever is there, and they don't think for a minute to not discredit, but to question it. They don't think that, okay, this is wrong or whatever. They actually take it as the rule of thumb that rosemary is this, or that particular herb is whatever, or that god and goddess is whatever. When a lot of it is very inaccurately written. Not all of it is accurate, and they just take the words of whomever, because no matter what, when you look on the internet, everything that you see or garner is based on what someone's thought pattern is on that particular topic, no matter who it is. So when you Google it, you're getting someone else's opinion on this particular topic, not the absolute truth, but that person's opinion on it. But then again, that's what books are about as well. You're getting that person's opinion on that particular topic, and it's up to you if it helps me with certain parts or not. Now, like Goddess Rhonda said, when we were coming up, we didn't have any of those things.
Mm-mm.
As a matter of fact, if I recall, back in '93, when I signed up to study with Laurie Cabot, I didn't even know who she was at the time. I was just like, oh, this is so wonderful. I get to study with someone who knows more about me with this particular thing. And I know, and back then we were like, we will take our money and we will spend $500-600 in a weekend and just go to a particular class or whatever. We didn't think about it because we thought this was our means of learning more from someone else.
That's right.
Nowadays, people are paying $30 for something or $50 for something, and they're like, that's all I'm getting. And they're not understanding that this is all knowledge that someone's passing on to you, that they themselves in turn learn from someone else who has been around for a long time.
That's right.
They're all passing down that knowledge as it's deemed necessary. So you guys are in a way, you are at a great advantage, and in a way, you are at such a disadvantage, because you're not allowing yourself to be guided by the universe, be guided by your deities. You're being guided, and you're not listening anymore, if you know what I mean. You're not listening to the universe and the deities and them calling out to you. Like, remember not many years ago, when we first began the show, I remember telling you that I kept walking into Yamaya, and I didn't know who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Many years ago, and I kept literally being slapped upside the head. I'm like, okay, fine, you're my patron, and I will learn about you, and it's because literally she was slapping me upside the head, to the point where one of the priestesses said to me, what do you mean she's your patron and you don't know her? And I'm like, because she just slapped me upside the head. I didn't know her.
Right.
It's like they don't understand that you have to now learn about them, especially if they're slapping you upside the head. Hello, you have to learn from me now, but you're ignoring all the different cues that they're giving you to learn from them. Stop ignoring, learn to pay attention to your facilities, your being of who you are, and listening to what they're trying to tell you. And I think that's dulled with a lot of the new people these days. A lot of it's dulled, so they're not quite getting all of it that they need to learn or listen out for. And that I feel sad about. I think in some aspects it's a, I don't know, it's something that I think that I would love people to not to use both. Don't ignore one aspect of who you are in turn and just go straight with the deference of the internet. That it's
And
just a
if it
thought.
doesn't feel right to you, then don't do. There's plenty of things that I've read where it's like, that just doesn't feel right to me. Now it might be
Yeah.
right for that person who's doing it,
Yeah.
but it's not right for me. I have
Right.
to do what feels right for me. Don't forget, when you go on the magical quest, you are going to be pulling on past life wisdom, past life knowledge, that sort of thing. And maybe back then you did things a certain way. Just because you do something different and I do something different doesn't mean either one of us are wrong. We just have to do what works for us, and which actually brings us to the next part, which is discovering who you were. Now you might want to get a past life regression done. I've done a lot of past life regressions on people. Some of them just come because they want to get rid of fears and phobias, or things like that. But a lot of them want to know, who was I in another lifetime? I mean, like, they just have to know. And that actually does help to know that, because again, going back into the 80s now again, um, my whole life I just wanted to be a witch. When I was growing up for Halloween, all I wanted to be was
Was
a
dress a
witch.
witch. Yep.
All I wanted. My
Yep.
mother wanted me to be a fairy and a princess. Like, no, I need to be a witch. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And she would buy me my little black hat thing and stuff, and that's what I wanted to be. And one day I decided, we found out, and this was my first husband, there was this woman that did past life regressions. And I wanted to know why I felt so strongly about becoming a witch, especially since my parents were Baptist and staunch Baptists. And I just never felt comfortable in a church. I felt like I would always feel like the walls were closing in, and that the benches were really, I was stiff, and I would sit there like this, and I just couldn't stand it. And I didn't know why. I thought there was something, I was evil or something, because that's what they teach you, unfortunately, in church. So me and my ex-husband, we went to this woman who did this past life regression. And I found out in one of my past lives, I was living in a convent, and I was teaching the other nun pledges, because we weren't nuns yet. I guess we were learning to be nuns, how to heal themselves with herbs and different things. And I was branded a heretic.
Yep. Your
And
ass would have
I
been kicked
was
out.
kicked out.
I
And
knew
it
it.
was
I knew it.
kicked out. But it was, all I had on was this little flimsy nightgown. And it was the middle of winter, in the middle of the night, and they threw me out. I had no shoes on, no nothing. And I remember running off, and I remember those big wooden doors slamming and running off into the forest. I don't remember anything after that, but it explained to me why I've always felt so uncomfortable in churches. And then in my next one that she took me into, and this is where I wanted to actually strangle her, I was by this river, and my father, who is my father in this lifetime, was my father in that lifetime. And he was teaching me how to do magic with these river stones. And I was saying it, he's teaching me how to do this magic. And the woman, the hypnotist or regressionist, says, "What's he teaching you?" Like, she wanted to know, and she startled me and snapped me right out
Right
of it.
back out. Yeah.
And I was like, I was so angry that she did that, because she just like, what, she wanted to know, and she startled me, and then she couldn't get me back under again. But, it's good to know that. It was good to know, because that explained to me why my father bought me my first tarot cards when I was 16. And my mother wasn't happy. Keep in mind, these are Christian Baptist people, go to Sunday, go to Wednesday night Bible study. And he
And
says,
he
I don't
bought you a tarot deck? That's rock on, Dad.
Yeah. And he was at the store in New York City, because he worked in Brooklyn. And he saw them, and he said he just felt compelled, like he just had to buy them for me. He just had to.
Yes. Daddy in both lifetimes starts you off. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. So it helps to have past life regressions done. I'm sure all of you out there must feel like you've done this before.
Yeah, something.
You've done
I
something.
think you were saying some things about those in the chat room, I think, because some of them were saying
things. Go back to that. Okay, so we've got J Key, who is working on her book. Congratulations.
Yeah.
She just completed a course online. Good for you for getting education to do it. It's kind of spiritual, as in spirit guided. Yes, it does. It makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. And then we have Goddess Judy, who says, I know that my quest is involving my awakening, my move, my wish to expand, my magical work, all feeds into that awesomeness. She also says, I know that I've always had a baseline spiritual connection. My mother's people were from the House of Priests, and my father people date back to Druids. That's really awesomeness. Um, and then we have Goddess JQ says the trickster deities, which again is kind of spirit guided. Absolutely, tricksters, they can be irksome, but they have something to teach you too.
They do.
There's a reason they will put you in a situation. It will help you to learn something, or it will help you to take things to the next level, to pull yourself out. Then we have Glowing Goddess, who works with Jesus. No problem there. I love Jesus. He's helped me through a tremendous amount of things in my life. Let's see. We've got, hold on, I'm scrolling it and it's doing this thing for me again that I hate when it does this. Hold on. Okay, there it is. So we have Goddess Monica, who goes with earth energies and little tricksters. Goddess Judy, who's currently aligning with the Blessed Virgin, Lakshmi, and Jupiter. Good for you. Those are like some heavy powerhouses there.
Yep.
Jay Key says, but Roadrunner has gotten real close lately, which I've discussed with Rhonda. Absolutely. We have here in New Mexico, our state bird is the Roadrunner, and they're supposed to be very lucky, very wise, and they can fly, but they choose to walk. I remember she was telling me something. I can't remember, Jay Key. You were telling me something about them, so feel free to put it in here to tell me about them. But I always thought it was curious that they can fly, but they choose to walk. And even that has a lesson in it. Like, don't be in such a big rush. Even though they do run, they can run pretty fast, but still they could fly and they choose not to. I find that interesting. And then we have, I'm sorry, it's scrolled again.
I would always think of that in a Roadrunner sense. I would think that they probably use it only when they need to, because they build up their energies for it to when they really need to use it. But yeah, know what I mean? I think it's smart. They're being very intelligent.
Smart. And it's also, look, we've already connected with the element of air. Now we're connecting with the element of earth. And so we've got to spend some time on earth here.
By choice. That's an awesome thing.
An awesome thing. Just bear with me. Let me scroll back up because I was there and then it scrolled itself back down again. So let's see. Where was I? Just bear with me. Okay, here we go. With J Key and the Roadrunner. Okay, so then we have Goddess Monica, who says, ask for everybody to show up. I've done that. Delightful chaos, my spiritual friends, and end up blowing up my phone. Ding, ding, ding. Good. We have Goddess Rhea, who says, spoken perfectly. I've never been able to explain that. And Monica says, it's like my friends, guides, and goddesses. Send them to me when I'm in need. Absolutely. J Key says they come as messenger. Rhea works with, she says Jai Sri Lakshmi. Absolutely. Victory to Goddess Lakshmi. And J Key says Loki Coyote. Coyote first showed up when I was only 17. Coolness. And Goddess Monica says, tie your own shoes, spiritual adult. It's true. I'm glad you said that. It's like you'll help a kid tie their own shoes. But if I was like, hey, could you help me tie my shoes? Excuse me. I think you know how to tie your own shoes. You've been doing it now for how long? Tie them yourself.
Quit being lazy.
Yeah, don't be lazy. We've got JQ, who says, Jennifer Lawrence dropped out of middle school. And I assume you mean Jennifer Lawrence, the actor, dropped out of middle school. Well, they don't call themselves actresses anymore. I don't know if you know
just actor. Okay.
Which I wanted to talk about that on another show, because I feel, and I don't want to digress, but I'll make a note to talk about it. I just feel that when you say actress, that to me means you are engaging in the divine feminine. You're the divine feminine. It represents.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a big call now for things to be genderless, but when you call yourself an actor, I feel you're taking on male aspects, and it's not really really who you are. But that's just my opinion, and we're going to talk about how that can mess with
I
you
agree with that.
spiritually.
I agree with that. Yes, and
We're
we
going to
will bring
talk
that up
about
another
that
time.
because they no longer call themselves. If you say, "Oh, you're an actor," excuse me, I'm an actor. Okay, well, I think you're taking away from yourself by saying that. You're taking away from your divine
Yep,
femininity and setting you.
I
There's
believe
nothing
so too.
wrong with being a man and being a woman. You know, come on, what's wrong with that? Why? I'm not going to take on a male name and male energy. I think we've done enough of that.
Yep.
Personally, I think we need
And
to
why
change.
did they change? Why did they even take the actor part? Why did we all say we all actresses? Really? Why did they only choose that one? And
Why
none of
do
it makes
that?
sense to me. Whatever.
You know what? If they want to be, if they want to be genderless, then let the men call themselves actresses. You don't need to call yourself an actor.
Exactly. Exactly.
They
It's
can
like,
take, let them change. But we've already, I
done that
feel,
many times.
exactly complied with men and gone along with them. So I have a big problem with it.
Me
And
too.
actually, if there's anybody
Anyway.
out there in our chat room who is an actress, and we'll say it again, actress, but prefers to call yourself an actor, I would like to know why. And listen, no judgment here. I'm just giving my opinion, and Goddess Star is giving hers.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
and
it's
I agree with that. I still, unfortunately, when I'm not in front of them, I still just say actor and actresses. I'm sorry.
exactly because to me, I don't know. I just feel it
And
enhances your
they've given
femininity.
up parts of themselves to become genderless. I don't understand that.
I don't
Or
understand.
choose a different name that's between both.
Well, yeah,
You
or
know,
create something that so that it's not just male oriented, but there really is, and I want to write that down too. The genderless. There are people now that literally call themselves. There's a name for it, but they're just like genderless, and they won't even identify with any gender, and you won't know what they are. Like I've seen some of them in the stores. You can't tell if it's a girl or a boy. And I saw this little video thingy where it appeared to be a woman to me, but I can't be sure. Where I'm going to call her she because that's what she felt like to me. And she said, "When you want to know what my gender is, what you really want to know is what's between my legs." And that's
no, we don't.
disgusting. And
No, we
I'm
don't.
like, well, no, that's really not why. But on the other hand, if I'm single and looking to date, hell yeah, I want to know what's between your legs. I don't want any surprises.
And that's
You
your
know?
choice. And that's your choice of what you choose to have
Exactly.
between those legs. It's your
I
choice.
want what I want between the
Yes.
legs, okay? And if
Yes.
I get down there and it's not there, and I'll just flat out say it, if there is no penis and no balls, I'm going to be upset and walk away. That I invested.
Yes, I will.
That's what I
I
like.
will.
That is nothing
Yep.
against anyone who is bisexual or gay, or
Yep.
you guys roll with who you want to roll with. But I'm sure if you're gay and you get to a point in a relationship where you're ready to take it to the next level, and you find out the person, if you're a man and you find out the person you're with has a vagina, you might
You're
not
like,
be
wait a minute.
pleased.
What happened to the man beside? Yes.
So I need to
I'm
know what's between
sorry.
your legs if I'm going to date you. Sorry, maybe you think I'm disgusting, maybe call me a pig, but I would like to know before I invest myself in you. Sorry, that's the way it is. So anyway, and again,
Yeah, we digressed. We digressed because
we're
we got off
digressing.
the
We're going to start with. I wrote this down because I can feel myself getting on a roll about it. So I will do that for another show. But I do think it jacks with your divine feminine and your divine masculine if you don't
Yeah.
acknowledge that. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see. Where were we now? Jakey says our paths are very individualistic. We have Peacecraft. Hi, Peacecraft. I don't know that we've had you here before. We've got Christo Pagan and understand the difference, but I feel the goddesses are my pantheon. Rock on. We have Eclectic Goddess says, I love that movie. Okay. What movie? Did I miss something about a movie? Did it scroll away from me? Let's see. We said Jennifer Lawrence dropped out of middle school. I have 2 college degrees. Put that in perspective. Let me scroll up to make sure, because when it scrolls, I can miss things. So I'm not
I think what they're going with is the Hunger Games, because that's what she's really known for. Even if she, even if you put her into other movies, you still see her as from Hunger Games, like with Buffy.
Yes.
Sarah Michelle Gellar moved on to many other things, but we still see Buffy.
Right. Okay, that's cool. I understand.
Maybe that's what she was referring to. I don't know. I'm guessing.
Was. Thank you. because I was just scrolling and trying to find it. All right, we've got JK who says, I was spirit led to being a child of the 70s and the 80s. Rock on with us, JK. Let's see, we've got Ama Love, building a relationship with Rahu and Ketu. Very good. Loyalty makes you family. I grew up without tech, so I can relate. Peacecraft says, I feel YouTube is full of negative black magic and dark witchcraft. It's easier to ignore it. Well, yeah, you. So you
repeat that. Repeat that a little bit. I'm sorry.
Say that again. This is from Peacecraft. I feel YouTube is full of negative black magic and dark witchcraft. It's easier to ignore it. Are you saying it's easier just to ignore the YouTubes that are full of, that you feel are negative black magic and dark witchcraft, just so that we're clear on what it is that you're saying? You know, Goddess Star and I, we did part of our show last week was about accepting both our light and our dark sides, which is really, really important. Now, and that's not to say that there aren't some people out there that are trying to teach you like evil ways to hurt innocent people and things like that, which we are not about. Let's make that clear. When we talk about embracing our dark sides, we are certainly not talking about being manipulative or controlling or hurting people for no reason, you know. But if that doesn't appeal to you, we can dig it. You don't even have to watch it. Although we would like to point out that Goddess Star and I, on our YouTube channels, we have very good educational tutorials that you can watch and learn from. Okay, so then we've got JK says, don't believe everything you read. This is very true, but you know what? One of the things, like for example, with the going back to tarot cards, I tried reading, you know, it came with, because don't forget, it was 16, so it was 1978 when I got that. And it came with, a little tiny book inside. That book might as well have been Chinese to me. It did not make any sense to me in my way, that it was wrong. This was not the way the card should be read. And so I read the cards the way I feel the cards are what they're saying to me. I never could use the book. It didn't make any sense. And I have to say, no one's ever told me I was wrong. But also, I think it's because in one of my past lives, going way, way back, I think one of the things that irritated me looking at this book, at least on a soul level, I didn't understand what it was when I was 16, but I do now, is that when the cards were created, there were no reverse cards. Reverse cards were never a part of it, because there's enough bad cards in there. If it's got something to say to you, it will say it. And so I'm very old school about a lot of things. And so when I read that, later on, I was like, no wonder these cards their readings did not make sense to me. Because back in the old, hundreds of years ago when they were created, there were no reverse cards. And to this day, I don't use reverse cards. I refuse to use them. It was not the intention of the deck, the author of the deck,
so
to have reverse cards.
Yeah. It's so funny. This past yesterday, as a tarot class, I was saying that exact same thing. That a lot of those things are all modern creations that people came up with. I don't know why or how or when it was introduced, but it was never part of the original. And I'm very old school like that. It's the same as how witchcraft and things like that. To us, witchcraft really doesn't have a color.
No, it
Black,
doesn't.
white, it doesn't have a color like that.
It's just witchcraft.
It's just witchcraft. We never understood that. Again, as time went by, that began more in the 80s and up. That's another modern creation. It's not something that witches thought of before.
Right.
And it's a shame that a lot of things evolve, but some things evolve into a way that you're like, okay, we no longer recognize the craft for what it is or what it was. And if we as old school witches no longer recognize it for what it was, and we're watching the younger, newer people take it, repackage it, rename it, and go on with it, we're like, okay, that's cool for you guys, but that's not our witchcraft.
Right.
And we will separate ourselves from it and walk away. because that is your choices on how you guys repackage and redeal your things for yourself to make it work in your heads, then more power to you. But it's not what we know. And if you're coming to us to learn from us, we will teach you it the old school way.
Yeah,
We
that's the old school way.
water it down and teach it to you that it's being regurgitated to you now, whether it's on Facebook or in books or whatever, as the new version of it, because that's all new. That's all modern, and it's
Yes.
not witchcraft.
No,
That's
it's
what I would call Wicca, or whatever neo-pagan or whatever other names you guys have came up with in the future, in the present time. None of those were terms we used back then. I never heard of it until recently, from the 80s and up. And hearing it, I'm sitting there going, what exactly is that? We're sitting there literally going to us, we're questioning what is that?
right.
And you guys have come up with meanings on it and everything, and you're explaining it away as if we're supposed to now be re-educated on that. No, that is your thing, your chaos, and your whatever else. You guys live with it. We don't have to live with it because we already know what we know. Um, and that's what you guys choose to want it to be. Um, and my only thing is, again, this is just our opinion, nothing more. Take it for what the grain of salt that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Whatever you guys choose to follow with it, and in your mindset, pigeonhole it into wherever you want it to, that's up to you. I do not know how to segregate my witchcraft. I do not know how to put colors to it. I do not know how to um, make it something of the what you guys have now. I can't. And we're just not made that way. And in a way, I feel like you guys are, in a way, I think they're shortchanging themselves. What do you think?
I do. I agree with you. I think you get short, but also remember there is also misinformation that will be
Yeah.
put out there on purpose to stop you. Like, let's talk about the law of three. Oh, I can't do anything like that because it'll come. Would you please knock it off with the law of three, please? All right. And then when we talk about like black magic and white magic, let's go way, way back into time to the witches in the wood that people would come to before we had police and everything else. You had a problem, you went to the witch in the woods to heal you or help you with whatever it was. You didn't go over to this side where there was the good witch, and then you didn't roll over to the next forest to look for the gray witch or the dark arts witch, which was over like 2 miles away. There was one witch that handled everything. She was a witch. She wasn't a white witch, a black witch. She worked
What?
her craft. If it was to heal or to defend or to be aggressive or go on, whatever it was, she did, or he did what was needed to be done. Regardless, there was no black magic and things like that, or black magic witch. He went to the witch in the woods. And so,
And no one, and you said something there that's so realistic. No one went up to them going, could you heal me with the black magic? Or could you heal me with the gray magic? No, they didn't know that.
mm-mm,
They just wanted to be healed or whatever else it was. No one thought to ask that. It's just, I don't know why we've evolved into these people that need to pigeonhole everything and to have a name for everything. I have no idea why.
everything has to be labeled.
Yeah, and given a pigeonhole that, yes, this is what I am, and I'm just going to segregate myself. If you have just done that, you yourself have put yourself in a hole. It's like cursing yourself into, or segregating yourself into this. And I don't understand why you yourself would allow the labels and then allow other people to then add the labels to you and your craft and everything else. It none of it, when you really sit back and think about it, makes any sense. And again, to me, my craft has always got to be logical. And yeah, it may be old school, but sometimes old school is the best school.
Exactly.
We didn't give names or labels to that. Even the kids today that have what they call ADHD and ADD, none of those things were there. Well, first of all, that's part of the stimulation of modern times, but still, they had many things. They just didn't label it like that. Now they do. Such is life. It's kind of sad, actually.
It is kind of sad, especially because back in my day, If you had attention deficit disorder, which we didn't have that phrase, all that meant was you were going to stay after school and then your parents were going to kick your ass for disrupting the classroom as soon as the teacher called them at home. And then that stopped the attention deficit disorder. Once you got your ass kicked, that was the end of that. So, there's, anyway, I don't want to get on another roll. I'm gonna try. Let's try and
we'll just walk away from that one.
You know how we do. So we're gonna stick with our stuff. Okay.
Yes. Go ahead, girl.
So we have Eclectic Goddess, who says it's everywhere. Peacecraft. You have to rely on your intuition, your spirits to lead you in the right direction, the direction that is for you. We have Goddess Monica, who says that makes sense. The internet frustrates me, but I feel like I need to step out of a bubble. It's very important not to allow yourself to get bubbled in or caged into one little thing.
Yes.
Most folks on YouTube want more viewers, so we'll do shock value stuff to entice us all. That's true, and they'll have all this woo-woo music and things like that. But people do what they feel they need to do to get their stuff going. We've got Goddess Judy, who says, I have had a past life regression. Also a healer or spiritual worker in France. I was a target of the Inquisition, some kind of healer. I was a shaman, Native American princess whose father was a healer. Very way cool. I suggest everyone get past life regressions done. And both Goddess Star and I are hypnotherapists, and we can do them for you if you're ever interested in that. We've got, let's see, Goddess Judy goes on to say that in another past life, she was the father and the healer. That's interesting. I've never had a past life done where I was a man. I mean, I'm sure I probably was one, but maybe that's because I'm not interested in going there. I'm only interested in my divine feminine. I don't know. Let's see. We've got Peacecraft, who says Eclectic Goddess 4. I know, I'm sick of chaos. I can dig it. We've got Goddess Judy, who says, and from Scotland, British Isles, I get deja vu with the Druids. Now, someone had told me, and Druid actually here told me that Druids don't like witches. I don't know if that's true.
Yes, that's a lot of them from what I knew. In New York, a lot of them don't associate with witches because they don't consider themselves witches. They don't consider themselves in any way like that, which I'm so not understanding, because Druids were supposed to be witches.
That's what I thought. But
I know maybe our education is wrong, because again, if people in modern times, first of all, there were not anything documented. So then they had to create their own things.
Right.
So if you're creating some things, then you can create a lot of things that you want and don't want. Right. I mean, isn't that what traditions are all made up of?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we discussed many a times about traditions and people and the different things that they created. None is better than the other. It's just that this is what the Druids or the different other traditions created, and this is what they want. They've adhered to this. They've given it a name, and they've given it rules, regulations, and whatever else that comes with it, based on their thoughts and their wants or needs for it to be, and separating it, and a lot of them that used to be, when you do research on it from the college profession point of view, those, what they call those booklets, that like the cheat books that you would read, and all those many research books that they have for colleges. Druids were considered witches. Sometimes people have now created books on Druidism, and they've come up with different things. Then that's again modern times and giving it the different rules and regulations, like a tradition. Right. We've discussed how with the Gardner tradition, how they don't forget, a lot of witches back in olden times came from high magic. So a lot of them brought things to them that they didn't like anymore as high magicians, and they brought it into witchcraft, and they brought certain things like ceremonial magic with them to their traditions.
Right.
Or like Gardner was into the BDSM lifestyle and a nudist. So Skyclad became part of their tradition. And what they did, the term Skyclad, all of that was created with them wanting it, and because they came from being nudist. I am not a nudist, so Skyclad will never be part of my tradition, or the scourging. A lot of that is part of that too. You know, all of that is from those lifestyles, and that's what they brought to their traditions. And people follow it. Hey.
My first coven was a skyclad. I like being skyclad, you know. And I remember when we moved here, and I went to a spiritual meetup, kind of a barbecue thing, and I was very excited. And I was like, "Do you guys go skyclad?" Like, we don't do that kind of thing here. It's like, well, excuse me, you know, sorry, but I'm just very comfortable doing it that way.
Yeah. I
All
don't
right.
mind it at home. I will not do it in public. No way. No.
I didn't have a problem with that at all when we had things and stuff with everyone going skyclad. I didn't have a
But
problem.
that's what I mean. Again, it's a mindset of what is it you like and don't like.
Exactly. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. Maybe in another lifetime I like to do it that way. Who knows?
Yep, you did.
Speaking of another lifetime, we have M. Torres, who says, I always wanted to be a vampire as a child for Halloween. Do you still want to be a vampire? Is that like still something that you relate to? Just curious. No judgment, just curious. Jakey says only on Halloween. Then we have Peter Craft who says, from now on, I refuse to subscribe to practitioners who tell others how to practice. Good for you. Don't let anybody tell you. If you feel like you need to do something a certain way and you're like, oh, that's wrong, you know, say thank you very much for your wrong opinion, and I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. And do what you want to do anyway, because you are probably pulling on a past life bit of wisdom that they're not privy to. So you go ahead and roll your way and don't let other people tell you what to do. Eclectic Goddess says, same here. And Monica says, I'm always fascinated by fairies, miniature peoples, and tricksters. Eclectic Goddess says, I don't like that either. Hold on, we scrolled again. Let me go back. That drives me nuts when that happens. We got
and I hope you guys realize that when you're speaking about the fays, they come in all sizes.
Absolutely.
All sizes, from little pixie type to really big, over 7 feet or whatever, you know. So fairies can be many sizes, just so you guys know.
All righty. Just bear with me as I try to find out where I was.
Choudhry.
Okay. Yes, okay, here we go. All right, let me just go down just a wee bit here. Peacecraft works with Jesus and the goddess. Good. J. Key, roadrunners eat centipedes, scorpions, and rattlesnakes. They move quicker than any of their prey, so in metaphysical terms, they move swiftly between the spiritual and physical realms. Thank you for reminding me. I could remember what you had said about them.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And they're also, according to J. Key, they're also protectors. They're also protectors, according to some Southwestern Native American cultures. Goddess Judy says, how do you know if you are divine feminine versus male, since I like to take initiative? Does that mess me up and make me a divine male? No. Now, Goddess Judy, just because you take initiative and you're assertive, I mean, there's plenty of goddesses who are assertive.
Oh, no.
War goddesses that will kick your butt up and down the street. So no, that has nothing to do with being masculine because you're assertive. That was taken away from us. We were beaten into being docile and submissive, but that is not who we are. First of all, we used to run things as women. We were the ones who were in charge. And you know what? We didn't have wars. We didn't have all this crap. It wasn't who's got the biggest missile with like these men out here. We
were not comparing dicks. We were not comparing dicks. So we didn't have to do that. There was no measuring of dick.
So, you know, no one says, oh, your boobs are, I have bigger boobs than you. We didn't do that. Okay. That's a male thing. But just because you are assertive and strong does not mean that you're masculine. So let's get that.
No. If that's the case, then I am extremely masculine. I'm so sorry.
Grow a mustache and a beard.
Yeah. Okay, because no.
And then we have Goddess Monica who says, roadrunners are strong defenders. They don't back down from fights. I can dig, because I was raised to never back down, so I can dig that. So I didn't know all this about roadrunners because they're actually little birds, and looks like they're kick-ass.
If you can take just about any animal that's around you, learn about them, and you'd be surprised what they can and work with you with. All their attributes, good, bad, or indifferent. What you consider weak might be not a weakness, but a great strength that they have. You don't know until you learn about them.
That's right. That's right. And you should pay attention. We talked about, gods and goddesses that come, spirits that come to us. Pay attention to the animals and insects
Yep.
even that come to you. I had at one point my apartment was filled with what do you call them? Praying mantises. And I couldn't understand where are they even coming from? I mean, I only went my cat. I saved one for my cat and realized they were all over the place. And I looked them up. And I was really trying to, I wanted to get my business going. I was really working myself into a frenzy and panicking about everything and money and trying to get things going. And the praying mantis takes its time. It stops, looks around, assesses the situation, figures it's okay, then it moves forward and looks around, takes its time to develop things instead of rushing. When we rush to do something, then of course we're probably going to make mistakes. But if we take the time to really investigate and research and learn. So I learned a lot from praying mantises, who are also fierce fighters as well.
One of the things, as you mentioned praying mantises, it reminded me, when you watch, I don't know about you guys, but at some point you must have watched Kung Fu movies.
Of course.
If you notice, when you said that, think about it. When I watched Kung Fu movies and they came up with the crane, the spider, the monkey, the praying mantis, all of them, they were basically acting and journeying with and learning how to react like them. So their speed, their strength, everything, that they use the weakness against them or whatever it is, or like the monkey technique was based on fooling them and making them think that they're stupid and did not know. And in the meantime, they'll hit them or whatever it is.
Right.
They really, to me, they were professionals at being and picking up on the attributes of all the animals around them. That was brilliant. And their martial arts is based on that. Same thing for the witches. You become the martial artist of that particular technique with all the animals around you.
Absolutely. And then we've got JQ says, I was telling Rhonda that in my neighborhood, there's 1 or 2 roadrunners that love me. They've gotten so close to me, I could have pet them. They're here to teach you. And I think that is so very, very cool. All right, hold on. I scrolled again. Let's see. Loyalty makes you family. There are beings here who are androgynous. And Monica says, transgenders and gender fluid realize that the feminine and masculine are not totally separate. I honor their struggle, but I'm not ready to date either one. Look, whatever, like I said, if you want to be androgynous, rock on with that. But if I'm going to go out with you, I'm looking for a man. That's basically what it is. And if you're not one, I'm going to be really upset to find that out later. So
I'd be like, get out. I'm not.
Roll on.
I don't go there. I don't go there. It's not my thing.
And I'm not judging it. If that's your thing,
come on.
Hey, do what you need to follow who you are. I'm just saying, just for practical purposes, I need to know who you are. Now, we're just going to be friends. I don't care, who or what you are. But if we're going to be dating, I need to know, are you a man or not? I'm sorry, but I do. And I recognize.
And at that point, yes, I'm not going there.
Yeah, I need to know for that purpose. Okay, so we've got, let's see, Eclectic Goddess Sword 9 to 5. It was very funny. Okay, hope I can, I'm going to call you Moon because I always struggle with your name. Moon says gender neutral and gender queer are what you may be talking about. Everyone experiences gender differently, and when you're dating, when dating, you should be open. I agree. I like this Tandy. Yeah, I need to know. I'm sorry. If we're dating, I need to know. If there are people that are bisexual, they don't care and rock on, that's perfectly fine. I'm not bisexual. I'm sorry. I like men. So if you're not a man, then we cannot get down that way. Okay, so let's see. We've got J.K. says goddesses Rhonda and Star are the real deal, though, in my opinion. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, J.K. I know and visit with Rhonda a lot. Yes, you do. I love my visits from J Key. When it comes, she says, and this is when it comes to YouTube stuff. Goddess Monica says, I love tarot books, read them all, and do my own thing. I like ideas. Very good. Peacecraft says, they sound like it. And Jakey says, I know a lot of folks on YouTube are in it for the number of viewers, for the viewer numbers, but Rhonda and Star are real. That's actually really true. We do this because we love teaching. It's one of our passions is teaching. And so we try to put really good information out there. Goddess Monica says, that's what's stuck in the modern poker deck. There are no reversals. I don't know anything about poker, so I'm just going to take what you say.
Yeah. Neither do I.
Okay, and then we've got Peacecraft who says, the repackage of Gnosticism is Christo-paganism. Christian Wicca became a thing about 19... Christian Wicca? Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that just really stopped me right in my tracks. But hey, there are Christian witches out there. I don't think they call themselves Christian Wicca, but hey, whatever they want to do, that's
whatever floats your boat.
Whatever works for you, roll with it. Okay, so Peacecraft says the Gnostic goddess has changed. Monica says, LOL, some of these things, like the law of three, are things that ignorance took over and people didn't stop and think and be practical. And also, I honestly believe people make up things to scare you away from witchcraft because they don't want you doing it. So they'll make things up. I've had so many people say, oh, be careful. That law of three. It's like, that's your law of three, babe. That's not my law. I don't follow that law. What I do usually for things for positive reasons. But if I have to hex and kick your ass, I'm going to do that too. And I'm not worrying about the law of three because I have a right to defend myself, my family, my money, my home, and everything else. And woe to the person who tries to attack that, because I will do my best to put you down and annihilate you. And
yep, rock on, goddess. I'm right there with you.
No regrets.
It's what I tell people all the time. You have to be basically prepared to be the warrior witch at all times. Be that, because you have to be able to use whatever is at your disposal to help someone that you defend your family and your rights on your business, all of that. So if you're someone who is under attack or different things, or you're not able to help a client because you're not willing to use everything, again, that's your choices. We each, don't forget, witchcraft is a very, very individual thing. However you practice your craft is on you.
But I also,
the rules and regulations and ethics that you give yourself, again, is based on you.
Yes. And I do believe that it's important to recognize all aspects of ourselves, all aspects of the goddess. The goddess energy is not just smiling rainbows and unicorns. She'll put a lightning bolt up your ass if you are not doing the right thing. Sorry, but
I love that. I love that, because you're absolutely right. How many times we've seen people, witches or whatever, say, oh, I love this aspect of that particular goddess, but I don't like that other part. Oh, I like this part and I don't like that other part. I'm like, do you really think that god or goddess is going to reach out to help you if you're only liking certain aspects of them, and you've taken this god or goddess and you've segregated them into pieces of what you like and don't like? Have you lost your bloody minds? Are you guys kidding me at this point? Oh, my goddess. Oh, wow.
I had someone say to me, because I told them that I bought a gun, and said, oh, well, you would be willing to take a life? I said, look, if I wake up and someone's standing over me, hell yeah, I will shoot them dead and not lose sleep over it. And they're like, well,
wouldn't even bat an eye.
Your test to see if, you could fuzz them. You know what? Then I would fail the test and I'd have some explaining to do. But I am not going to just sit there and turn the other freaking cheek. I'm not going to do that. And if you can, well, if you do this, this is what's going to happen, and you're going to go to hell, and you have to explain. It's like, no, maybe that's what's going to happen to you. But
I'm not Christian. I don't go to hell.
And I will defend myself and my home and my peeps and everybody else. I will defend. And I have a
Me
right
too.
to do that. I don't believe I'm supposed to just sit here and let someone abuse me or kill me or choke me or rape me or whatever. And I'm just like, oh well, I'll just lay
Go
here and turn
ahead,
the
help
other cheek
yourself.
while you do
Yes.
that. I don't think so. If I can poke your eyes out, I'm gonna do it. If I can rip your throat out, Goddess Rhonda's going to do that. I will do whatever I have to do to defend myself, and I will not lose any sleep. And if you come at me, expect return fire. That's all I have to say about that. I will fire back.
Okay. And I second and third and fourth that, right behind that, all that she just said.
Absolutely.
I'm
Don't.
not, sorry, but not sorry is the other words.
Yeah, sorry, but because I've even seen that in like on Facebook posts where someone says, "Oh, someone's coming at me, so I'm going to go after them with this spell," and then someone will write in there, "Oh, don't forget,
Oh my
there's the
God.
law
I'm
of
like,
three."
I know.
And
I
will
walk away.
jump in, and I'm like, you have a right to defend yourself. You have that right. If you just want to sit there and take your blows, okay, maybe that's you. Maybe you're a masochist. Maybe that's what you feel you need to do is to be beaten and abused. Don't make that mistake with me. Don't make that mistake with Goddess Star. And don't make that mistake with many witches. If you come, expect return fire. And it's not going to be a little return fire. I'm going to take you out at the knees. That's what we New Yorkers do. You got to cut people off at the knees. You have to do that right
Yep.
away. And then they leave you alone. But anyway, I'm getting on one of my rolls and I feel myself getting worked up. So I'm going to go
Girl,
back
I'm
to
right
our
with you on
chat
that
room.
roll. Yes, yes. Get back to the chat room.
Let
Let's
me get
listen to
back
the
in
fine
here.
wisdom
Calm
from
myself
everyone.
down. Let me have a sip of wine. Have a sip of wine, Goddess Star.
Oh yes, yes, guys. Cheers in the chat room.
Ah, there we go. Bring
This
it down
wine is not bad.
notches.
It's not my Rambusco, but it's a good wine.
Did you just give out the name of your wine?
Oh my goddess, I forgot. But I
You
can't. It's not in right now. It's not in right now. It's
all
been
right.
out for a while, so I gave them the name in the chat room of the one that I'm using right now. Because it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I'm just drinking this in the meantime until my favorite
Oh,
comes back
okay.
in.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So then,
It's a good second runner up. Yeah.
okay. Well, good luck with that next week when you go and they don't have that either. Now that you've told everybody about it.
I know, right? Every time I say a wine, they just go and they get it and they're at the wine shop. This
And
is
then there's
not
no
very
more.
good. It's not very good. It's dry. Migraines.
All right. We got a lot of comments in the chat room tonight. I love this.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead, girl.
We've
Go
got
ahead.
Goddess Monica who says astrology transits occur in hits of 3. Your karma will be what it will be and isn't guaranteed to come back as bad. Cameron says, I'm on an airplane and can't stream videos with the free Wi-Fi. Chat works though. Very interested to see this video. I love the topics. I'm a non-binary person. Much love to you all. Merry meet to you. Let's see what we got here. Okay, wait a minute. I scrolled again. Let's kind of get myself back. Peacecraft says it depends who you think she is. I'm not quite sure what that is in reference to, and feel free to enlighten us in the chat room. Monica says, what you're meant to do is open a can of whoop ass, and then the law of three.
I love my goddess Monica. She's like, open a can of whoop ass. She's so
Okay,
right. Let's
I
open a can
love
of
opening a can of whoop ass. That was awesome. That just made
yeah, awesome. That rocks, Monica. I
that
love
was
that. I love our people in the family in that chat room because they're really
I
gotta
do. I
crap up
love
for
them.
them.
They're just so funny.
Yeah, they know us so well. They're like, yes, we're all on the same page.
Okay, we've got Debbie, Goddess Debbie, who says, yet in logic, meaning witchcraft, witches fall under paganism umbrella. Well, not all witches consider themselves pagans. Not all pagans consider themselves witches. It all depends on what you feel more comfortable with. Quite frankly, I'm just a witch, okay? Basically,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
that's who I am. If I say paganism, it's because I don't want to be referred to as a Christian or Jewish or anything else. But even paganism has so many offshoots. Maybe even that I don't know is truly the.
Yeah.
So I'm just a witch, straight
Yeah.
up. You know, that's
And
who I.
also, it's funny. I was recently speaking to someone in the down, I think it's Texas or one of those places, and the troubles that she was having. And ACS, is it ACS, the Child Service Play people,
Mhm.
even was trying to take her kids, and because she practiced as a witch, and she said that she kept saying to me that she told them that she's pagan and all these different things, and they said to her that they do not recognize paganism as a religion, and all these things. Well, actually, telling me to the law, it's not paganism or pagan, that's the religion. What they have written
No, it's
down
not.
is Wicca. So if you're defending yourself legally, you cannot say, you have to claim the actual word, because that's what's legally ordained, or well, not ordained, that's what's legally being called the religion right now. Unless someone changes that to any other name, that's what she has to say by law or legally speaking. It's just interesting, other things that she told me I'm not going to go into right now. But yeah, you have to be very clear about the words that you're using. And again, that whole segregating of the name and the titles and all the different pigeonhole that people are doing, that's based on what people's, again, terms that people are pigeonhole people now in this time. It's
Right.
not something that was done before.
Right. And all pagan means is it just means country folk. Because back then
That's
we
all.
relied
That's what I
on,
mean. You
you know,
know, and
it's,
and
it,
and they give it so much more meaning behind it, which again people created as the time came forward. That was not the original meaning. The what people are calling it now.
right.
So I don't know why, as people move forward in time, they change. A word can mean one thing, and then they take it and they change it to mean something else. It doesn't mean the original word changed or will become something else. It just means that modern people took it and made it this particular meaning.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but it's
Well,
it's still that old meaning.
it
Okay.
is. It's still that old meaning. We have Michelle who says, "What do you think about the strain that the human species is putting on the planet? How can humans come together to evolve as a species?" Well, first of all, um, I wish I could say there was some magic formula to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen. You've got too many egos involved. And let's be clear on the people who are putting the strain on the planet. We've got the capitalists who don't give a rat's ass about anything but money. We've got our donut head president who's selling off national monuments to make money and will do anything to make money, doesn't care about the pipelines. My idea is when I see those big drills go being forced into the earth like that, that to me is spiritual rape of the earth. I feel like the drill is the phallic symbol is being jammed into the womb of the earth. And I wish that there was something we can do to make all of us come together. But you also have to remember we're all here learning different things. All of this down here is just a learning ground, and we're all here to learn things. And the conflicts that we see going on, it's through conflict that we mature. We have to learn what we're made out of. We have to fight. We have to make good choices and do things. So if you can come up with an idea to help us to bring humans together, to evolve together as a society, although when women were in charge, that's what we did. Now we've got egos and who's got the biggest dick out there in charge of things.
And I
No one
measure it.
ever
That's what they
thinks
want to
about.
do. Yeah, let's measure our dicks, okay?
Seriously, you know what? I look at these things and you hear the fighting, and this one in Korea saying this, and this person saying that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we as women, we would come together. We'd have maybe a nice coffee cake, some coffee and tea, and we'd sit down and we would talk about it and figure out what is best for everybody, as opposed to it's my game, my rules, my baseball bat, my ball. Everything is all about us as men and things like that. So, if we want to look at what happened to the earth, it's really not the divine feminine that has destroyed it. It's really, I won't even say it's the divine masculine. It's men who don't really give a rat's ass. They're sociopaths and all they care about is money. This guy, Nestle with the water, who says that water is not a right. You don't have a right to drink water. It's a privilege to have water because he's buying up all of the
Oh my
water
God.
swings and things like that. And soon someone's going to say, well, we don't have a right to breathe air. Remember that movie? What was the name of the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? You know the movie got a star.
Total Recall.
Total Recall. When they go on Mars, you had to buy air because you're not allowed. Your air was
Yes, yes. They have to
something
buy
you're
the
just
air,
allowed
and
to
if
have.
they
And
didn't,
that's what we're heading towards, is where everything is going to cost
Yep.
us money. But I am with you on
Yep.
this, Goddess Michelle, and please come back to our show. And if you come up with ideas or things, we'd be more than happy to talk about them. But I honestly
and you know what? Honestly, I just remembered, as you said, buying air. If we can remember back when we were young kids, we used to joke about it or make fun of it and go, the way people are going about water, one day we're going to have to pay for water.
Yeah.
And this is in our lifetime when we were kids. And what happened afterwards in life? We are paying for water. We buy water. And when we were younger, we used to make fun of it and go, ha ha ha, one day we're going to have to pay for water, and thought it was a joke. It's not a joke, right? It's reality now.
No,
Same thing with the air and anything else. And in the chat room, before you go ahead with the rest of them, there was one person that mentioned something about the government and naming the term of Wicca or witch or whatever it is. When Laurie Cabot and a few of the others, the League of Awareness, back in 1974, when they formed and tried to go to Congress to bring forth us as a religion, it took them until 1989 with President Clinton to do it. And when they did, they were fighting over the words of what to use, that they would not allow them to. They were able to go through with Wicca. So I was very happy to have anything better than nothing to be recognized.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it was Wicca that was chosen as the word, because and again, if you know what the word Wicca means, it just means witcha, just means male witch. That's all it means. And witche was the female witch. So if we're taking it and we can just say witchan or wiccan, then that means many witches. Just take it for what it is. At least we got that much. Maybe now all of them are old or elderly, I should say, not old, elderly. And they can't help us as much anymore. But maybe the new breed of us can get it to eventually where it's no longer just Wicca, but witch as well. Those who want to be represented by Wicca can be there, but those who want to be recognized as witches can be there as well. So it's up to us to go ahead and change it to something else. Not change it, but add it as something else, as another religion. Who knows? I'm just saying. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm just kind of scrolling because there's a million comments here. We'll be here till midnight. So I'm just kind of scrolling through to find something. We've got Goddess Judy says, no wonder I can identify with Xena Warrior Princess or Wonder Woman, the female tribe. And it does, it resonates. Because when we ran things were very peaceful. It was not like this. Let's see. We've got Monica who says, it depends on the gun. You didn't get an automatic rifle where you take dozens of lives randomly. Goddess Rhonda, you're not indiscriminate. No, of course not. I wouldn't just go around shooting people. But if I wake up and you're in my house, I hope you made your last will and testament and all of your affairs are in order. Because I am not going to shoot you to injure you. I'm going to get rid of you.
To kill your ass.
I don't want to have to.
I'm making sure you don't get up.
I don't want to have to worry you're going to get out of jail and stalk me or anything like that. You're just gone.
Yep, end of it. Yep.
That's the end of it.
No, nothing to talk about.
I will shoot to kill, and that's it, because you had no right to bring your ass in here in the first place. And I'm going to assume if you came in here to kill me, I'm going to get you first. Sorry, that's the way it is. And I'm not
kill or be killed.
Shoot you in the arm. I'm going to kill your head.
Yeah.
Or your heart, or wherever I can kill you the easiest. That's just the way it is. And I will not lose an ounce of sleep over it.
I'm not a police officer. Police officers are supposed to shoot to wing or hurt and put them down. I'm not that person.
No, I'm not either. I will kill you. That's what I'm going for. If you're lucky, I'll miss.
Yep.
Maybe just hit you in the knee, but my goal is to kill you. If I wake up and you're here, I'm going to assume you're here to kill me, and I'm going to get you.
Yep.
Sorry, that's the
And
way.
like you said, you don't want the person coming back years afterwards, stalking you, and then continuing. No, I am not willing to have you come back afterwards. No, you're going to die.
No, I'm just going to kill you.
Nothing to discuss.
There's nothing to discuss. You shouldn't have come in here. That was your bad.
Mm-mm.
Sorry. All right.
Enter at your own risk.
Yeah, you're sorry, but that is the way it is. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Let's see. Okay, so we've got Debbie says, I'm a witch. I'm first a witch, but people want to hear pagan versus witch. You know what, Debbie? It doesn't really matter what people want to hear. You go with who you are, you know? And
More
if they don't
power
like
to
it,
you.
if they want to label it and they want to figure it out, tell them to do that on their own time. You've already said what you had to say and send them on.
Yep. And this is you, and that's them. Whatever they want to give it to themselves, hey, man, more power to them and walk away.
Exactly. All right. So we've got pretty much. Monica says she's an equal opportunity Catholic witch. The Guadalupe doesn't demand rudeness to other deities. Rock on, goddess Monica. And we have Debbie who says, "Oh my God, POTUS needs pulled out. We start at home and community. Recycle, show kindness, etc. Start where you are and have it spread out." You know, and I agree. And I look forward to the day. And I like that Bella Lacroix calls herself a shaman. You know, shaman, witch, magician, wizard, metaphysician, light worker, high magic practitioner, whatever you want to call yourself, we're good with that, you know, because basically to me it's all the same thing. But rock on, because shaman, that's cool too. Okay, so I think we've got all our comments in. Debbie says, Rhonda, you can protect me, girl. Absolutely, you got it, goddess. Tell anybody that if they want to get to you, they need to come through me, because I have no problem with that.
Yep.
All righty. So with all that said, unfortunately, I had planned to do all of our topics tonight. We didn't even really finish the quest stuff because I wanted to talk about emotional quests, mental quests, physical quests. But I think we'll continue this next week. I think we kind of got a little off topic, but we'll continue this next week and talk about 2018 as the year of mastery and things like that. As always, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Please visit our Priestess View Facebook group, which you can join. Just if you go to Facebook, put in the Priestess View group. And also please go to our Facebook page, Priestess View page, and hit the like button. And also please go to my Goddess Rhonda page and hit the like button, and Goddess Stars page and hit the like button. We're trying to get more awareness of our show and bring more people that we can enlighten and engage with and empower, and who, because you guys empower us too. You guys give us a lot of information that we
you guys are awesome. You guys
you're awesome, and we just love you. We've got
we can't say enough about you guys. We really cannot say enough about you guys. You guys are just amazing, and we are very grateful that you guys are part of our audience and part of our show. Because we cannot do this show without you guys at all.
No.
We really cannot, and we really enjoy you guys there and your input. Weekly input is a must, and we thank you guys very much for that.
And you guys have awesome input. You teach a lot of stuff to us too. And so with all that said, we love you. We adore you. We are grateful for you. And we're going to continue this conversation next week, and we hope that you'll join us. And so as always, we say merry meet,
merry part,
and
merry meet again.
Good night, everyone. Have an awesome week.
My lovelies.
We love you.
I love you guys. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Let me go quickly and say goodbye.